Today we're going to learn how to make a wall hanging with your name on it using clay. So I start with my lump of clay, and I don't need to wedge it. I know some people have learned how to wedge clay, but all I really need to do is pound it in my hands like this. I know that seems kind of silly, but it will help prevent it from breaking later. And then what I do is pound it gently. Yes, you can pound things gently. Watch. Okay, now that's pretty flat. But now I need to roll it to make it smooth and a little bit flatter. So I put my hands on either end of the rolling pin, and I roll it like this. I could roll it both ways too. Okay, I don't want my my slab to be thinner than my finger. It's about the width of my finger, so how high my finger is, that's about how high I want it to be. Okay, now I'm gonna gently turn it. I'm gonna make mine the long way, because I have a longer name. And actually, you can even do any word you want. It doesn't have to be your name. So I think I'm gonna do art. Okay, now that we have our clay rolled out flat, I'm going to show you some of the tools you'll be using. First, you'll use a fork and a knife. It's a plastic knife. And a little cup of water. And you can also use a little stick for carving. Other things that you can use later are for textures or for stamping. Okay, now I just use simple silverware. You could use these fancy clay tools, but honestly, I have found that these work just as well. All right, so now we're gonna cut out the base plate of our name wall hanging. And you can make yours any shape you want. Mine are kind of wavy lines, but you can do whatever lines you want. You can even make it into a shape of, oh, I don't know, a cloud. Anything, just think about how long the word is that you're gonna spell out and how long your clay needs to be. Now at the top of the project, you're going to push in 2 holes. You just take one of the sticks, push through and wiggle it around a little bit. Push through and wiggle around a little bit. You can kind of smooth that out. Speaking of smoothing out, what I do is take a little bit of water, not a ton, just a tiny bit of water, and I could smooth out the edges of my clay, because if I have cut them and they're not real smooth, I could do this to get the bumps off. But you don't want to soak it in water, you really don't. Okay, so here's my wall hanging so far. And with these holes, later I'm gonna put in maybe some wire to hang it, or I could put in a pipe cleaner, something, a yarn, I don't know, we'll see. We'll decide about that later. Okay, so now I'm gonna set this to the side a little bit, and I have some leftover clay that's already rolled out. If you don't have some leftover clay rolled out, you're gonna have to roll out some more clay. Okay, now I'm gonna take my knife, and I'm gonna take my stick, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw my letter with the stick, and I'm gonna trace my letter. Now remember, I'm doing the word art, and you can do any word you want. I mean, within reason, as long as it's appropriate for school. You can, most people will probably just do their name, or you can write home or love or whatever you want. Okay, so now I'm gonna take a little bit of the water, smooth it out a little more. Remember, not too much water. Now these little parts might be a little bit hard to cut out, so I can help you with that. You can use your stick, you can use the knife. Yes, this is very kind of hard to cut out. So I'm gonna take this little tool, just kind of dig it out. There we go. Here's my A. And I'm gonna use a little bit of water and smooth it again. Okay, now I'm ready to attach my A. So I always use my fork. Whenever I attach two parts together, I'm going to use my fork and do something called scoring. Sure, you can use a toothbrush or you can use toothpicks, but I just use a fork. I've always just found that to be the best for me. I'm going to put a little bit of water on there, and this acts kind of like a glue. Now, some people who've taken a clay class before might use slip, and that works well too, but I just like water because it's a little bit less messy and it's easier to clean up, and for me it works just fine. You know, when we put things in the kiln, sometimes pieces fall apart or break, but most of the time, 99% of the time, everything comes out just fine. As long as you smooth things together, push it down, push, 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 and then I could refine some details later too. I don't have to just leave it how it is. I can refine details. Okay, now I'm gonna work on the R. Same thing. Trace the letter. The inside parts, I would say, are the hardest. So if you can make the inside parts a little bit bigger, that'll make it easier for you. And cutting, cutting. Okay. Cut away this. And take your time. You want to do a good job. Okay. And take my little water, smooth out the edges again. Smooth, smooth, smooth. Smooth, smooth, smooth. Okay, that looks pretty good for me right now. Flip it over. Score. Okay, now I'm going to score this also. Add some water. If you forget the water and if you forget to score, it will probably fall off. I'm just telling you right now. You might get lucky and it might stick, but if you don't score it and add water, it's not going to be as sturdy. Okay, now I'm going to show you another way that you can make letters if you don't like the idea of cutting them out, because some people might find that a little bit hard. Well, another way to make letters is to roll a coil. So I'm going to take my clay, and I always kind of squish it into a sausage shape already. And then I get my hands a little bit damp, not soaking wet, and you roll it back and forth. Roll, roll, roll. Now, if your clay starts cracking a lot, that means your clay is probably a little too dry. So you could put a little bit of water on it, smooth it out, or if it's really cracking a lot, then I recommend just going and getting some fresh clay from the bag. Okay, so now I'm going to cut my coils, and I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use this for the bottom. And then I'm going to use this for the top. So it's kind of like a, it's not as much of a block shape. Okay, that looks great, doesn't it? Did I forget something? Yes, I did. I forgot to score and add water. So I'm going to take that off. I'm going to score. Score. Score both sides. Add some water. And then press it down. press it down. And then I could cut this part off too. Can hear the kids are passing in the hallway. Okay, here we go. So it's looking pretty good. It says art. Now the last thing you can do is add some designs. These are little pieces that game pieces that I got from the game Perfection. I found a couple of these at a garage sale for only $1. And then I took out all the pieces of the game, and I like to use that to make shapes in clay. Okay, there's some nice shapes there. Another thing you can do to make designs is roll out a piece of clay. And then this could be a little bit thinner. It doesn't have to be as thick. And I can cut out a shape from here. So I like stars. So I'm gonna cut out a little star. Okay, now that's a little bit wonky. That doesn't look quite how I want it to look. So I'm just gonna pinch it, add a little bit of water, pinch it some more, until I get the shape that I really like. You know what, if I don't like it still, I could just scrunch it up and get some new clay. Or scrunch it up and start again. Okay, now here's my star. I'm going to put it right over here. Score, score, score. Score, score, score. Okay, and I'm gonna push this down like that. Now, I want you to also start thinking about what colors you would like your clay to be, because after we fire this clay project, we're going to paint it. So start thinking about what colors you like for your letters. Here's my design so far. Now I could keep going in here and I could add more things if I want, or I could leave it just how it is and I could be done. I could smooth some more things out. It's really up to you. The last thing that is important is carefully flip it over. And if you don't already have your name on the front, write your name on the back. Or you could put your initials too. All right, sometimes I like to put the date on there too, 2016, or the year, so people, when I look at this in 30 years, people can see, or I can see when I made it. Okay, thank you very much. Good luck.